Hey, what's up YouTube? Brian Fajoli here. And in front of me I have this really cool gamepad. And I'll tell you kind of what led me to buy this. So this week, the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S pre-orders, they started. And I was tempted to buy a Series X. It was only, $299, but the pre-order system went like terribly wrong. I wanted to get it from Amazon and they never seemed to have it, and then it sold out, blah, blah, blah. I actually had the Xbox Series X in my cart at one point, and I could have gotten it, but it was like close to $600. I mean, when you add in the tax and everything, and I was like, am I really going to spend $600 for a game system with no game? Then I have to buy at least one game or subscribe to Microsoft's subscription service, and or then I could also do the PlayStation 5. That starts at $399, but then I'm over $400. So I said, you know what? I like the idea of playing new games, but let me get back into just playing old school games, playing Nintendo 64 and Super Nintendo, and just do a lot of emulation. And of course, I don't recommend piracy at all. Only, follow your laws of your region or whatever. But I really just said, you know what? Rather than spend $500 on a game system, let me spend $25 on a nice controller so I can play some games. So this one came with some really great reviews. This is it's called the 8Bitdo SN30 Pro USB Gamepad, and I believe the SN indicates Super Nintendo, it looks like a Super Nintendo controller. But it also has these sticks here as well. And on the top, there's, I think, 2 sets of shoulder buttons. So without further ado, let's go ahead and unbox this if I can find my knife here. And let's see. Is there tape? Is there tape? Is there no tape? Let's see. Oh, there's no tape. I don't even need my knife. So I had my knife ready to go. I chose this because I do want to play a lot of classic games that are that use the D-pad, but then when I saw these dual thumbsticks, I thought, well, that's a cool idea too, because I could play PlayStation games with this and things like that. So this also comes in Bluetooth, but I went with the USB Type A. And why did I do that? Well, the reason I went with that is because I'm pretty much just gonna be playing these in front of a computer screen. I'm not doing it on my couch or my living room or anything like that. And I don't like having to charge things up, and wireless can have a little bit of a lag and disconnect and blah, blah, blah. Using a wire is just very easy and simple and straightforward. So I can sit in my computer chair with this plugged into my computer, and I can play games. I can play all these classic games. So let's see how this feels. So it's definitely lighter than I expected. The plastic feels nice. Let's see here. So we have the X and the Y buttons are concave, and then the B and the A buttons are domed. We have this piece of sticker here. I'll take that off. So you can kind of feel the differences, right? Or am I imagining that? No, right? Yeah, so these top ones are concave. They kind of go in, and these ones are domed out. So you can kind of feel the difference. Then you have a traditional D-pad. This is kind of like the classic Nintendo D-pad. I like this better than having 4 individual buttons or having some round thing just kind of like a disc. I like having a traditional D-pad. This is how I've always played games, learning how to use fighting games like Street Fighter, downright and things like that. Just was always so odd for me to have individual buttons like PlayStation used to have, I believe, or they still do. So then you have select and start. And on the top, we have 2 sets of shoulder buttons. So we have left and right. And then we have these shoulder buttons, L2, R2. And there are, I believe that's LED lights there, or a lighting system. I don't know why. These, I don't know what they do. So we have buttons here, star and whatever this is. Is there a booklet that this comes with to explain that? 8Bitdo instruction manual. Okay, so we have the star button and the home button. Switch connected. So you can also connect this to a Nintendo Switch for Windows. Turbo function. Hold the button that you would like to set turbo function and press the star button to activate the activate turbo. LED on the right will blink when the button with turbo is pressed. Star button equals switch screenshot button on switch mode. Okay. So I'm not going to be using this with a switch. I don't have a switch. I will be using this to play games like off of Steam, 3D platformers, 2D platformers. Wow, these feel really good. That was my concern, is that these sticks would be like feel cheap or something. It actually feels really nice, and I do like that they click in as well. So my favorite game system of all time is the Dreamcast, and I haven't really gotten into Dreamcast emulation yet, but I would like to, because I have tons of Dreamcast games and a Dreamcast, but I just don't feel like hooking it up. I'd rather have the games easily accessible on my PC. So hopefully I can use this for some Dreamcast games. I want to get into Sega Saturn emulation as well. I used to have a Saturn, which I loved. I'm going to use this with Sega Genesis games and pretty much anything I can get my hands on. And this should handle pretty much everything. This feels like a Super Nintendo controller, and then I have these sticks, so I can use this to maneuver my 3D character. Let's say I'm playing Super Mario 64. I can use this to control Mario. I have the buttons that I need. Camera stick could be the right. You know, it's just really cool. This can do pretty much any game system. And the fact that it's wired means I don't have to worry about hooking up and having to charge anything, or dealing with Bluetooth and having disconnects and things like that. Really, really cool. So I believe this comes in, besides being Bluetooth, some other designs maybe, but I like this one. It was only, I think it's $25. The price seems to fluctuate. Sometimes it's like $22, sometimes it's $25, sometimes it's like $26 on Amazon. And I'll put a link of where you can buy this on Amazon. But it looks just like a really, and it feels really nice and like a good quality controller. If you've ever purchased like a budget, like a third-party controller, like if you ever had like a Super Nintendo or a Nintendo 64, let's say Nintendo 64, I know there were a lot of third-party controllers for that. So let's say, you know, you needed a second controller for like when your friends came over. A lot of times people would get like a third-party controller, and it would be unfair to whoever had to use a third-party controller because it was like not as good as the original. This feels like it would be just as good as like an original Super Nintendo controller, or really any controller. These sticks feel great. The resistance, the pull, it's just really, really nice. Nice and rubbery feel. Select and start. And this should work perfectly in Windows as well as Linux. I'd probably do this a lot in Linux as far as the emulation. Wow. GNOME has the games, which is like an emulation thing. You can set up and organize your games and emulate. And let's see, just a bunch of screws here. 8Bitdo SN30 Pro US Gamepad, because I'm a pro. Made in China. Designed by Guowo. I don't know who Guowo is. FCC ID input. Cool. All right, folks, so that is the 8Bitdo SN30 Pro. If you have any questions about this controller, leave them in the comments below. I will put a link of where you can buy this on Amazon. Seems like a solid controller. I'm looking forward to just downloading a bunch of ROMs now and playing some Super Mario Land and all kinds of cool stuff. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching my video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and have a great day.